It's the proverbial American dream. I think I typify the American dream. Immigrant from India, comes to this country, goes to university, full scholarship, works really hard, gets lucky, and leads the second largest company in the country. So it is the proverbial American dream. And my story is actually one that's actually interesting because it focuses on a lot of luck, and it's injuries that create luck. And so there are ironies where, you obviously know luck comes without really hard work. And so it's the ironies and how do you take advantage of the ironies that you're faced with. It is really about my experiences, it's about my foundation at Stevens, it's the stuff I've done, it's family, and that's how you grow. And so, it's quite hard because you're trying to, motivate people and give them some tidbits so they can remember. And quite honestly, there's so many tidbits in life that an entire speech can't even cover it. But you'd like to impart people with something that they go away with, one thing or four, that would be great. And I think that's really what I'm trying to accomplish, is that someone can remember the very basic things. And if you can remember the very basic things, you may apply it to life. And you'll say, oh, I heard that. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe that's what I should try. They're not really profound per se, but they're very fundamental to my growth. I think you should go with your spirit. You should know what you want to do. You should learn to be happy. But I think I really focus very hard, and I do this today in my current job, because being a CEO of a fairly large company, the job is to motivate people. The job is to lead people. Even though the original perception is that you're the doer, that you're supposed to come up with the plans, you're supposed to build, you're supposed to develop, you're supposed to lease. But really you can't do it. It's too large. So you have to motivate. You have to lead. The work at General Growth Properties, it's a real estate company. It's a REIT called a Real Estate Investment Trust. We own shopping centers throughout the country, the second largest owner of shopping centers in the country. And I guess as a CEO, I'm the motivator, I'm the coach. That's how I've evolved myself to be. And of course you come up with business plans, and of course you come up with budgets, and of course you talk to analysts, and of course you have a financial plan. But that's pro forma in an ironic way, even though they're fundamental to the survivability of a company, okay? But it's to be the right coach so you can get the people to evolve. So I view my job to be a coach. I'm actually having a blast doing it because it's easier than doing the work. They're long hours, but I take nothing home. I don't read anything. It's actually ironic. And when I took this job, I thought I would be inundated with stuff to read and follow through. But it's really all about meeting people and providing leadership. So I believe in what is called the 90-10 rule, where 10% of what you do you love, and 90% of what you do you have to do, or it's mundane. And if we really live life in a 90-10 rule, you'd actually be depressed, right? Because imagine living in rejection 90% of the time. And the unique part is to take the 10% of what you love to do to occupy 90% of your brain, so you consistently feel happy, right? And so my job is to create an environment to allow you to feel happy. And if you can do that, you'll perform. But if you look at Microsoft and you look at Google, right? The Google engineers were actually trained at Microsoft for the large part. Why do they perform at Google, and why is Microsoft not performing? It's purely a function of environment, right? So they're happy in one environment they can create. And I presume they were not happy in a separate environment, and they went to work because they needed a paycheck. So that's if they can take that away and realize that, I think that would be a lot. So actually at Stevens, and I came here on a full scholarship from the Rotary Exchange Club. They paid for my tuition at Stevens. And I actually had to feed myself by being a dishwasher, a cashier, a dock loader, all at the cafeteria. And then finally progressing to becoming a math tutor. And I think the ability not to have the financial wherewithal and always working, okay, to make ends meet with a smile on your face, okay, teaches you, okay. And so there are different things. It's not necessarily what academics you learn. It's the environment that was created, and I enjoyed the environment. and I actually I did a master's simultaneously, and so that added much more to having to work incredibly hard. So the ability to really juggle so many different things, okay, in a 24-hour period allowed me to be very structured and organized. And I think that structure, organization, hard work, commitment to succeed were qualities that were taught to me here, and the school actually encouraged it because they very easily could have said it's too much. I also played squash for Stevens, but they didn't. They just encouraged me and allowed me to do what I wanted to do, and giving me the freedom to succeed was tremendous. When I got this current job, I looked back as to what created me to be where I am. And it was in a conversation with my wife, we said it was a university, which is when I reached out to the university and said, it's time to give back. The program that we're sponsoring, I think, is really has to do with everything I did here. And so I think the school was, the university was very helpful in customizing where the monies would go, and it's going to go towards tutoring children, and actually feeds back to the fact that I was a math tutor, and there was two aspects for it. For me, it was purely I needed the money, and I think the people who we tutored were very appreciative of the time that we spent. But I loved what I did, so you got paid for 20 hours a week, and we probably worked 40 hours a week, and it wasn't really, after a while, you were happy with the 20 hours a week money. It didn't matter how hard you worked as long as the kids you taught succeeded. And so I felt that if we can have a program to do this for more children, so we can encourage them, so there's less of a dropout rate, it would be great for the school. I actually am amazed at the university, so I'm happy I reconnected, because the thing that amazed me is that when I went to school, it was about engineering. Today it's really about the practical application of engineering to various industries, and I find that to be fantastic, because usually schools just provide education and it's a discipline. Okay, it's your discipline of your mind. It's not necessary that you can apply any of it, because quite honestly, 90% of what you learn you don't apply. So it's really the ability to learn is what you learn at university. Okay, and that's I find interesting. And when I went to school. And today, I think a lot of the programs that Stevens is working on is how do you apply them on a practical basis. So, in that showed me that actually the school invests tremendously in technology that can be applied practically. So I was thinking about, all the jobs I did on campus in the summers and so on and so forth. And one of the jobs I did once was, how good is insulation? And I stayed in this heated room with no air conditioning. We built this house and we put layers of insulation and measured how much heat loss there was. But even in those days, we had these practical applications that we were working on. And today, there are some fantastic innovations that the school has done. One called Cat Eyes, which I think is quite amazing. So I'm impressed with the practical application of academia.